Hello, and welcome to another episode of Scavenger Life. This is episode number 375 at scavengerlife.com. We're back.
Yep, thank you everyone for the well wishes for Ryan being sick.
I was sick. I could not get out of bed.
It was a pretty rare thing. I mean, you were pretty kind of out on your butt. You know?
It was like I didn't have the flu, but it was pretty close.
Yep, like strep throat.
I think I had strep throat, and I had a fever.
And I thought about doing the podcast alone, but then we just got busy, and I was like, I don't want to just sit there and talk to myself. I don't know how fun that would be.
Yeah.
So
anyway, we're good together.
It was good. And the good thing, though, is that, with running our own eBay business and just life, that you kind of had the freedom to be sick.
Right. I mean, it's not great, but it's like I don't have to call in sick. I don't have to ask permission, you know. The hard thing is that the businesses are still happening. Like, I still had to make sure our cleaners got all our linens, and I was actually cleaning linens, and I was packing eBay.
Yep.
Like, I still had to do that because there's deadlines.
Yeah, we could have extended the handling time, and we talked about that.
But I didn't.
But we were like, let's just keep selling.
I mean, and part of it was some of that stuff had sold right before I got sick. So it was like, I got to ship this out on Monday, you know, even though I'm sick now. So I just muscled through it and did it. I don't want my shipments to be late.
Yep. Yeah, no, it was good, and I'm glad that you feel better.
Me too. God,
definitely, we couldn't have the life we live if it was just a one of us, because there was so much to do. I couldn't have done all of it.
Yeah, there was so much to do.
Alone.
Yeah.
And I think as far as like a working eBay full time, so we've started to renovate this building.
Yeah.
With this other guy, we're right now just destroying it, like
tearing stuff down. Yeah.
And basically, it's a full time job.
Yeah.
This guy, he likes to start early in the morning. I'm like, it's a little too early, but we start early in the morning.
Yeah.
And then by about in the afternoon, we're done.
Especially because it's hot.
It's so hot here on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Drenched in sweat.
I mean, your clothes are drenched in sweat.
And I don't want to do anything else.
Yeah.
I just want to take a shower and just sit in the chair and just like chill. Right. I do not know how people that have full-time jobs still do eBay.
I don't know.
People talk about they work all day and then they come home and then they're like
listing stuff,
and listing and taking photos. I don't know how they do it.
Yeah.
I really think that the difference, there really is a difference when you do eBay full time. When if you don't have anything else to do, and eBay is the job that you're going to do.
Right. It's
so much different, So when people say that they're considering quitting their jobs to work on eBay, I mean, I know it's a big choice, but it really is like an exponentially different thing than going from just kind of doing it part-time after work to doing it full-time.
In what way?
Because you can put all of your brain space
into that
thing,
Yeah.
I mean, I really think that owning our own time is really the secret sauce. I mean, that's kind of like with you being sick,
right.
know? You can be sick, but you can still do a little bit of eBay because you don't have to do anything else.
Right, that's my only responsibility is to take a nap and go pack this thing and come back and take another nap.
I mean, you're intimately involved in this building as well.
Right.
I'm just there tearing up tiles and stuff. I mean, and you're here working, making sure the eBay business is going and laundry's being done for our rentals.
I mean, I think that's what we've decided. It's kind of what has to happen, though, is there's kind of a delineation of responsibilities where it's and we've done this with other rentals where it's you are the contractor, the general contractor, and you're making sure you're working with people, we're working on the building together, but I'll stop by and do something and help. But yeah, I got to make sure our helpers are here doing eBay. I got to make sure the laundry's being done. I have to make sure stuff is packed and shipped. And it's that stuff's that has to happen for money to be made to pay for this building.
And, we've talked before about, maybe we shouldn't do eBay anymore. Do we really need to do it?
It's so crazy.
But, like I always say, at this time, eBay is what's funding all of this.
Yeah.
You know, like
Exactly.
eBay is making it happen because it's just like pumping out that cash so we can throw into
Right.
sanding floors and getting brand new electric.
I mean, we could talk about all the stuff we're doing. It's a lot of stuff.
So it's great.
Yeah.
I love it. Old shoes have to be sold.
I mean, at times when you get up early and you're there and you're sweating and you come home and you're drenched in sweat and dirt, you know, it's like, I'm like, oh, I just like sat here on my computer all day. Yeah. You know, I feel like I don't really do anything.
Don't feel like that way at all.
But I mean, I have like, you know, because we have a helper, I have 200 listings I have to do. You know, I'm like, I literally have to sit here and list stuff on eBay. Yeah. Like, it cannot not happen.
I don't want to frame this as like, oh no, it's like so much work. It's like, this is awesome.
Right.
Like, this is exactly what we dreamed of.
Right.
Is that we've created a whole thing for ourselves.
Right.
Everything, I mean, I want to be there sweating.
Yeah, no, I do. Yeah.
Tearing up tile.
Yeah.
Trying to expose brick on this building.
Trying to figure out what the next steps are.
Solving problems.
Yeah.
I love it.
Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that because I don't love doing that stuff.
Okay, I love it. And, you know, I love that you can, I mean, I don't know, do you love it that you can just be at home?
Oh, absolutely.
In your house.
Because the thing is like,
doing eBay.
I can do, excuse me, I have a little bit of a cough still. I can make sure things are happening from here. You know, it's like we said, I'm like making sure our helpers are all set, and I'm like, you know, listing stuff and
Look, my only point to bring all this stuff up is that for anyone out there thinking maybe I wonder what would happen if I quit my job, if there would be enough stuff to do, and you know, could I make it? I don't know the answer. I'm just telling you, for us, we went from a nothing,
right?
You know, working for other people, to having created this whole thing. Like, there's more stuff for us to do than almost we can do.
Like, it's so funny because...
So it's awesome.
I think of, like, our helpers sometimes. Sometimes I don't see them all week because I've set it up, I left them a note, I text with them. I'm like, okay, this needs to get done, you know, put it in a pile when you're done, and they know what to do. So it's like, I won't see them for you know, all week. And, you know, I often wonder if they're like, what are they doing? If this is their job, what else could they be doing? You know, there's so much other stuff to be done, you know, with these businesses and with their renovations and, like, you know.
I think it's like T-Set says, is like, if you build these its processes, then you can like allow things to run on autopilot. So if you can just put stuff out for the helpers, and if you train them and they know what to do, and they just do it, and you can kind of monitor it online, and it all just works out, you know. And
because I was sick, I didn't see one of my helpers all week, and then because I was getting over being sick and still kind of tired, I was like, I didn't see her this week either, but she's over there working, and I'm messaging her, and it's like, you know, text me if you have any questions. It's good to go.
It's a good place to be.
Yep.
Okay, with eBay this week, I don't know, a couple of things happened. I guess we'll kind of go back a couple of weeks since we didn't have a podcast a week ago. But like one thing that happened a week ago was, I think we got it too. We got a payment request from eBay through email, where they were asking like, if you didn't pay for your listings. Do you remember that?
I don't remember seeing that message, but other people said that they got it, where they were like, you need to pay your store fees, and people are like, it's automatically on my credit card. Like, and then, why would I need to?
Then eBay sent out a thing that said, whoops, that was a mistake, sorry. So that was just an error.
Okay, so it was just I think some people were freaking out because they were like, what are they, like, are they going to shut my store down because I didn't pay? But I did pay. So yeah, I was a little confused.
The sign-in page to eBay is now new, and someone mentioned that there's now, you can sign in through eBay with your Facebook account.
Right.
Which I guess is a good thing to, again, attract brand new people to
Yeah,
eBay.
because everybody has a Facebook account, basically.
You can just come to eBay, sign in with Facebook. I guess you can just buy something on a guest account.
Right.
And then when you pay, I'm assuming you can just pay
with a credit
card through PayPal as the
right
processor.
now, yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah.
Someone mentioned on the forum about that eBay is rolling out a new feature for sending offers to a watcher. You know.
Now, I haven't seen this message. Some people said they got the message where you have the ability to send offers to watchers.
So, if you have an item and if you see that 5 people are watching it.
Right.
I guess this is how it works. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess the idea would be you can say send an offer to all those people.
Yeah, like, hey, I'm doing 20% off this item.
Yeah, whoever buys it first buys it.
Right. It's not like you see who's watching it or their like usernames or anything, but it seems like but a lot of people have theories of their watchers being just other sellers, which could be true. But what?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if this is going to be different for people that, I have one old pair of shoes with 5 people who are watching it. So people have to compete to like buy it fast, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Versus, I'm selling iPhone cases and I have a warehouse full and I send an offer just hoping to
generate some sales. Yeah.
I don't know. It's,
I think it's cool.
I at least like to see those kind of things.
Yeah.
Because that's more a tool for us
for sellers,
rather than a buyer, like free shipping.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I think it's very cool. I would love to try that. Absolutely.
Now, this is something that you had mentioned that someone did. PayPal no longer shows
buyer's email on the... Like when you get an email that's like, hey, someone paid for your item through PayPal, a lot of times there would be their email address there. And I was having an issue where we were doing a local pickup and the woman was like, oh, I'll pay extra if you just deliver this to me. She lived outside of DC. And we were like, okay, I need to send her an invoice through PayPal because she had already paid for the item. And I was like, where is her email address, her PayPal email? It wasn't on the email. I don't even think it was in the transaction in PayPal. I was like, I have no idea how to communicate to this woman how to get her an invoice. I did see it on the record, the eBay record, so her email was there. Right. But I think they're trying to eliminate doing deals off of eBay. It must be. But I was like, I need to ask for extra money, and it's like not allowing me to do that,
right. Interesting.
So I thought that was strange.
Yep. I don't know. I mean, it's one of those weird things where something gets changed that you depend on, but it's not big enough where they send out a notice.
Right. They're just like, we're gonna hide this information, right. And you're like, what?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about our numbers this week. We had a pretty good week. Our gross sales, not including our shipping costs, was about $1,900 or so, which is good.
Amazing.
I always think of it as if we make $2,100 in a week, that's $300 a day.
Right.
For us, that's always good.
Good goal. Okay, so things we sold. We bought this Hudson Bay blanket, which are super popular, sell for a lot of money. It was damaged.
It had a big tear in it.
Yeah. I think I bought it for $30 because I was like, I know I can make more on this because I know someone's going to use it for fabric or whatever. So we sold that for $140, which was really, really nice.
Nice sale.
Yep.
We've sold an old pair of shoes, I always say, for $110.
Now these shoes were these 1930s women's saddle shoe boots with this dyed burgundy shearling cuff. I mean, I was like, these are crazy. They're amazing. I had them up for $150 and took an offer of $110. Yep. Got them at a thrift store, paid almost nothing.
Yep. It's one of those things where we love vintage shoes, especially because it's something we were really, really attracted to in the early days.
Yeah.
There is no brand, there's no names. It's just
There was a brand, it was called Star Made, but I just think it's a generic, like,
Right.
1930s.
Right. Like it's, it's
Sears catalog.
It's not a brand that people are.
Yeah, it's not like Converse,
searching for.
Yeah.
It's just well made and cool.
Yeah.
They always take a bit longer to sell, but somehow there's people out there that are looking for these kind of shoes, and I don't know if people actually wear them.
Or put them on display. The soles were not wearable. Like the soles were like hard. The rubber had become hard.
But these old shoes, people can always put a brand new
a sole on it. Yeah.
Sole on them.
They were
just because of how they were done. So anyway, just cool. We sold a floor nailer that we don't use anymore for like $130, which is kind of.
I had a floor nailer, that someone actually gave to me for free. Because they had an extra one, and I was like, this thing's heavy. It comes with it has an extra battery, extra nails. But whenever we put flooring down, usually the person helping us has like a compressor.
Yeah.
They don't need a floor nailer.
Right.
Like,
we, in the early days, we had these visions of like, we were going to do all of our own renovations ourselves. And very quickly, we learned like.
We're not as good as professionals.
Yeah. And I'm not, I like doing work, but I don't want to learn how to be like a plumber. I'd rather help a plumber who has a lot of knowledge do that stuff.
They do it faster and better.
Or help a floor guy who does it all the time because he's got all the equipment and it always looks better. And so
I gave someone a deal, sold it $120.
Instead of like hoarding tools that will never.
I try to recycle the tools as much as possible.
I keep talking about, we went to this auction a month ago, and we bought like $800 or something worth of pottery. Tables worth. Yeah, boxes
pottery,
worth.
Glass.
We sold another $75 worth of. Yeah, this week. So
it's great.
It's like our little pottery pipeline.
It is.
Little mugs, plates.
Just custom made stuff.
Keep selling it.
Yeah.
We sold a dog collar for $20.
To a prop company doing the Marvelous Mrs. Maisels. I think that's what it's called. I haven't watched it. I think it's on Amazon. I think we need to figure out how to watch it because it's a.
And people were talking about that. Someone came on the forum and said they sold an item to some prop company or some TV show, and yeah, it's fun.
It's always fun. I love that. I love selling to prop houses because I'm like, oh, this weird old dog collar with the old tags from the 80s. Like,
well, they always will pay full price very often, and they'll pay more than what most people would probably pay for it because it's like the exact thing they want. Yeah, they need it like yesterday.
Scavenge of the week. We got this huge lot of like vintage mid-century like Japanese tea towels. I need to research these. They have these amazing, gorgeous like paintings on them. They're cotton. They just look like hand towels, but I think they're more special than that.
Yeah, they're real. So they're real, like they're cotton, I guess, right?
Yeah, they're like a thin cotton.
Super thin. They're almost like a tea towel, although they seem to thin to be a towel. It's kind of like a handkerchief.
But it's big.
Right.
It's like the size of a hand towel.
Size of a hand towel, but it feels like it's a handkerchief with these beautiful prints on them.
They're just... And there was a huge lot of them.
Right. We got a whole box of them. We paid about $1 each. Now, anyone that finds these old... pieces of fabric. Mm-hmm. There were a lot of them that had these brown spots on them that seemed to happen with old fabric, and we tried to wash them, and they didn't really come out. So I don't know if there's a way to get that. I don't know what it is.
I know it's like this weird. It's like antique rusting or something. But what my mom has told me is to soak it in OxyClean. But I'm like, I don't want to like soak these for a week. I just want to like start processing them.
Why don't you just want to soak them for a week?
Because I'm lazy. I don't know.
I don't mind doing that if it takes out the brown spots. I'm just concerned. I don't want any of that ink to come off of the beautiful prints.
Well, I washed them all in the washing machine, and none of the ink ran or bled or anything. So
if you soak them in Oxy,
maybe I should try. I should just get a little bucket,
a one, and
just soak it and just see if it comes out. Yeah, because my mom said she's done that with antique lace.
Yeah. Yeah, the thing about that is that, there's no print on it, so there's no...
That's true. OxyClean should not make any of that run. No.
I don't
it's not
know
like
what
bleach or
OxyClean is.
anything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
it's not.
But the cool thing is, this is the kind of stuff I love. Is they're really beautiful, and it's something that you could put on a
It's
wall.
artwork, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a piece of art.
Like, we might keep some for the rentals.
Right.
To hang on.
Fabric art.
We love fabric art.
Yeah.
It's so simple. You just tack it to the wall.
But again, I love buying a lot of something.
It's this huge... I think there's more than 60 in there. It's like endless. There's so many of them.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Exciting. I live for stuff like that.
A cash.
Customer issues. We had 2 things returned to us. Not a big deal, but
there's actually 3 things.
3 things.
Returned.
Well, there you go.
One of them was a shirt that didn't fit, so not our fault. She just said it's too big for me. One was a shirt where the guy was like, "This is more worn than the photos show." I mean, it's a used shirt. You're like, whatever. And then one was like some software CDs, and he's like, "This didn't work in my computer." I'm like, "That's not my fault."
Yeah.
So I'm still unclear how to fight that stuff with eBay.
Right. So I only wanted to bring this up because we've been talking about on a forum about it. eBay's like, do free returns, which we have turned on.
Right.
So we're happy to take the return. It's just then when people add on to it, item not described, which means that we did something wrong.
Exactly.
And then we have to pay to ship there and back. So that can be significant cost.
Yeah.
And my question is, so if we eat the free return back to us, and their reasoning that we did something wrong is not correct. How do you fight that? Someone says this used shirt is more worn than I thought. They're not saying that there's holes in it or marks. It's just like they're feeling.
It's like buyer's remorse.
And so there's no way in the process to fight that.
Right.
And so I don't know.
At this point, I don't know.
Because right now, you simply have to accept the return.
Right.
And then once you get it back, the only choice is to refund them for everything.
Right. Right.
And there's no place to say, I don't agree with this.
Right.
Can we talk about it eBay?
I mean, I guess I just have to call them.
Yeah. So, if eBay's going to allow for this really generous return policy, there needs to be some kind of place where...
Because I thought that was the point of free
it.
Returns, is that we were allowed to dispute it. But where? I don't know.
So they haven't seemed to add that part to the thing, And so I don't know if other people who
I would
sell
love
clothes,
to hear, what do other people do?
It's still not... Our returns are not so bad yet where I'm just like, oh, this isn't going to work for us. But it's more of like I know there's like one side who is like, just be a businessman, you have to eat it.
It's shrinkage.
They're just shrinkage, who cares? But then there's a part of me where it's like, I don't want to be like aggravated about it, but it's like, come on.
But also you're like, that's not my fault.
Yeah, it's like, I'm a little small business guy. I shouldn't have to eat a cost just because someone doesn't want to pay because they changed their mind, It's, anyway.
Okay, moving on.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yep. Things we learned in the forum.
Okay, this is kind of the same thing in a way. So someone came on a forum.
Yeah.
And he said that a buyer made a claim on PayPal almost 6 months after a sale.
Yeah.
Which PayPal allows.
Yes.
It's like 180 days.
Yes.
A buyer can come and say, there's a problem, and the buyer said, I didn't buy this thing.
Right.
It was an improper sale.
Yeah.
The problem is that eBay and PayPal and the post office erase all that info.
Yeah, after 6 months?
After 90 days.
Right.
So there's no way for the person that sold the item to show, look, I shipped it just like I was told to. It got to the person. They got it. So I've done in my job. If there was an improper sale, that's between them and the credit card company.
Right.
So the good news is the sellers said they called PayPal, and PayPal just said, "Oh, we'll just give you your money back."
Right.
It's okay. But it sounds like PayPal just kind of covered it on their own.
Right.
And my thing is, if PayPal and eBay want us to have such a generous return policy,
Right.
they need to keep that information.
Exactly.
You know, like
Right.
Like I don't know if it was PayPal that told them this, but there was this advice to like take a screenshot of these pages.
Yeah, and you're like, what? I'm going to take a screenshot of every single transaction I do?
Right. Yeah.
That's like ludicrous.
Yep.
You guys have like huge servers.
Now, anyone that uses like a third-party listing app, like a Wonder, a Lister or 6-bit, I think it stores all that info.
Yeah.
Infinitely. But if you're just an eBay person, it's like us. Like,
Yeah.
You know, I don't know how that's a thing. You know.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Fix it.
Yeah, it's a good question. Okay, so I get a lot of people write to me who are very freaked out that they get denied access to the forum. Here's the thing. If you sign up for the forum, I will automatically deny you. Everyone gets denied. Everyone.
Everyone?
Well, okay, if someone's like thrift store 135, I'm like, okay, that's probably not a spammer. But most people's names, honestly, the spammers are so good now, they just make it look like a regular person.
Right. So the reason why I think our forum is good is because it's very clean. There are no spammers. They're not people coming on saying like, you know, make $1 million in 24
Buy
hours.
this drug.
Yeah, with a lot of spam links. It's just normal people, and that's because it's a tight ship.
Right. So here's how it works. You get denied, and then you email us. Hey, I was denied. This is my username. Please approve me. That's how the system works. Otherwise, I don't know who's human and who's not. I just don't.
So did you just deny everybody?
I blanket deny everybody.
Really? I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Unless it's like, you know, thrift finder. You're like, okay, that's obviously like a scavenger. But, you know, most people's names.
So maybe we need to change that. Like, should we change it to where if someone wants to join, they just email us and then we send
They can
them
do
invite?
that. They can do that ahead of time so that I'm like, okay, it's this email at Gmail. I will approve that person. You can do that, yes. Some people aren't going to hear this message.
That's such a horrible system.
Why is it horrible?
I mean,
there's no way to tell humans from non-humans.
Is there a way, so if someone joins or wants to join, can they send a message like, I'm registering, and then they just say, like, hey, I'm a real person?
I have no idea how to set that up on WordPress.
Okay.
Agreed. Yes, I'm a real scavenger. That'd be great. I have no idea how to do that. Okay. Any WordPress people listening, love to know.
All right. Okay.
But right now, this is the system.
Yeah. So, you know, we're not, you know, we're doing the best we can with this stuff.
But just write to me. That's all. Hey, I'm a real person. I'm a real scavenger.
Yeah, it's just funny because people get very angry.
People get super offended. How could you deny me?
I've been selling on eBay for 15
I'm an eBay seller for I guess that doesn't matter. I'm like, I don't know you from anybody.
Right. So, anyway, that's just where we're at.
So you know.
What would be helpful is that if there's someone out there that knows WordPress, and that's basically PHP, and that they could help us find a plugin where someone could register
put a message,
and send us a message so we know that person.
That would
real.
be so helpful. Yeah. What did you cook this week? Did you cook anything? I was so sick. I like ate pudding and popsicles, which helped a lot actually.
Yeah, because I've been working out so much, I've been eating at a Subway a lot actually.
You know what? I've been obsessed with their wraps, which we talked about in New York. We're like, we love wraps and we love burritos. And I found a low-carb wrap.
Yep.
I am like in heaven.
Yep. Just everything in the wrap.
I'm just like...
Fish tacos.
We made fish tacos with the wraps, so it's Mission brand. It's like Carb Watcher wrap or whatever. Usually I'm like, whatever. Now I'm so, yes.
Yeah, I'm really kind of skeptical, like, how can they not have carbs in a flour tortilla?
Right. Yeah, I know. I have no idea. But I totally
But it makes us feel better.
We didn't talk about this, but we went to IKEA yesterday. We had a huge DC trip. It was literally overnight. We stayed overnight and stuff. And I definitely ate pizza at IKEA.
You're allowed to eat pizza.
I know. It's so delicious.
Yep. Okay, our coming week, we are pouring concrete. This has nothing to do with eBay, but it just happens to be.
Well, eBay's paying for it.
In this building.
Yes.
The basement of the building is just a crummy old basement. It's
it's not finished.
Where people just were storing old cans.
It's dirty.
Junk,
it's disgusting.
Cobwebs.
Horrible.
We've cleaned it. We're pouring a floor. So it's going to be a beautiful...
The reason we're pouring the floor is because the floor right now is super out of level.
Right.
Like you walk in it and you're like, whoa!
It's got cracks and it's just like a basement floor.
But what we want to do is finish it to have, like you said, a polished concrete floor.
Because we're going to turn the basement into a usable space.
Right.
Because there are windows. Because it's actually a walkout basement onto the creek of our town.
It's gorgeous.
So there'll be a door and windows. It'll be beautiful. But that means that, we have to do all the stuff to do it. It's going to be cool. I love it. It's so fun because you get all these guys and there's concrete pouring down.
I can't believe it's happening so fast.
Yeah.
We were we should get a concrete floor. And the guy was like, okay, good, I'll do it Wednesday. We were like, whoa, okay, all right.
We have learned when people are ready to do things, it's good to take them up on it because that offer might be gone because they get a 6-month job out of town and you'll never see them again.
Yep. So that's happening. That's huge. So what I'm doing is, this is also related to the building. I'm trying to apply for a 0 interest loan. I have some paperwork I have to do for building stuff. But mostly what my job is this week is listing on eBay, working with my helpers, getting them set up to take pictures for 12x hours.
I mean, we are trying to get as much stuff up before the holiday season. I mean, it's September 2nd as we speak. Happy Labor Day, everybody.
It is Labor Day weekend.
But, people basically start buying for it's Christmas now October especially. So anything we can get up is game
is golden. And so we moved our second store over. There's lots of stuff in the first store now. It's almost 8,000 items.
Yep.
Stuff selling. We've been taking offers every offer that comes in. I'm taking. I'll take that offer. Yep. Let's sell.
Yeah. So we have to fund this thing. So
exactly. Okay, we're going to answer some questions. A bunch of people emailed us questions. You can email us an audio file from your phone at thescavengerlife@gmail.com. You can also call the voicemail line. That phone number is 540-407-8486.
Hello, guys. This is Mark from Central Connecticut. I think last time I called, you actually got me confused with another Mark whose store you knew quite well. My store isn't anything to really look at and be impressed with. Nevertheless, you guys are sometimes a little vague as to where you source from. I've been listening to you guys for a number of years. Obviously, us resellers source from different places, and the question I have tonight involves developing a database of all the places that people source from. I'm particularly lucky living in right in the middle of central Connecticut. I can be in the Springfield area, Hartford, New Haven, Fairfield County, and even southeast Connecticut heading towards Rhode Island, all within an hour, which would provide different opportunities for thrift stores, in-person auctions at night and on weekends, flea markets, pawn shops, which there would be a ton of, antique stores, and various other places like the restore places where they sell the hardware and things like that. With that in mind, I certainly don't want to drive around in circles and waste time and money. The whole point of being a reseller in today's day and age is to leverage time for profits. I'm wondering if someone makes probably a program that's similar to Microsoft Excel that would have the primary and secondary sources to pick up items to resell. A secondary source would be maybe a place that you didn't have good luck with or is only open limited hours. It would have the addresses and the hours in the database, directions to get there, and would develop clusters. So that for me, for example, it would have a Springfield cluster, which way to go up I-91, sticking below or south of the Bass Pike, and then coming back to the Hartford area. Of course, to save gas time and to get more items in less time. The most important factor in this would be feeding the information into a GPS. Obviously, while driving, we can't keep on referencing a piece of paper on a clipboard. That wouldn't be safe at all. So it sounds far-fetched. However, I'm sure when we look at the reverse, let's think of a jewelry case salesperson that sells the locked jewelry cases that go in the stores. Those people probably do have a database of where to go to sell the stuff. What you folks and myself are looking for is the reverse, where to go to buy items on the secondary market. Wondering what you thought of that, whether there is such a thing, and most of all, if it would be affordable, hundreds of dollars and not thousands, and whether it'd have to be the same brand GPS. So hopefully we can get some thoughts on that, and we'll see where we go. Thanks.
Okay, sorry we confused you.
Yeah.
I think we confused you with Mark S.
Yeah, there's a couple marks, and so we get confused of to which mark is what. So people that have the same name, they need to come up with like a, like
Mark
like
Thrift,
a nickname
Thrifter 123.
Yeah. A Michigan mark.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. So I don't know if I quite understand your question. So I don't know if you're wanting to create this tool or if it exists.
Right.
I mean, there's all the different places we scavenge from that anyone can do. Yard sales.
Thrift stores, auctions, estate sales.
Auctions, estate sales.
The
Garbage, and flea markets. We kind of scavenge as a part of our daily life. So if we're in a certain town, we know there's all these thrift stores.
Yeah.
So we'll go to those. We know when the auctions are within 100-mile radius of our house, and every so often we'll go to it's one of those. We know where the flea markets are. With yard sales, we no longer kind of plan a yard sale day. We're just kind of driving around doing stuff, and there's a home that has a yard sale. We go and grab that.
Out, yeah.
So I think that is how our scavenging is, because we know kind of like what he's talking about. We know everything within 100-mile radius of us. So scavenging just kind of happens in a natural way.
Right. I mean, like having I don't know, like for me, I'm just kind of like, you got to just find the places that work for you.
Well, I mean, so these things do exist. They're just not like a compendium of everything. There are these tools that exist that allow you to search these things, but they're about specific places you can go to. So there's auctionazip.com, there's estatesfinder.net, I think it's called. There's a yard sale, a mapper on your phone. There's a Craigslist app. So I don't know if you're talking about wanting to create one big one. I mean, that'd be up to you, really.
This is Nick calling from northwestern New Jersey. First and foremost, I hope Ryan's strep throat gets kicked and she is back to her normal self very soon. I have a question regarding shipping stuff on eBay. To get to the point, there used to be an option on the eBay shipping page where you could change the ship from zip code. And now I can't find that option on the newly updated version. Basically, I have too many packages sometimes that will fit in my mailbox at home, so I'm forced to actually go to the post office. But the post office that I like going to is right down the street from where I work, and it is a different zip code from my home or return address. And like I said, in the past, there was an option where you could change the ship from zip code, but keep your return address and zip code intact. And I cannot find that option on the new version. it's not a huge deal, but every time I go to the post office, the postmaster who knows me always mentions that the ship from address is not the one that I'm actually shipping from, and apparently the post office doesn't get credit for those if it's not from their specific zip code. So that's an issue. The other thing I should mention is that I went on a vacation with my wife, and I changed the handling time on my eBay account to 10 business days, and I still wound up selling 15 items while I was on vacation. It's very interesting when the cha-ching sound goes off on my phone when we're in the middle of Sequoia National Park, but definitely kudos your advice in terms of changing the handling time, because you're right. If when you simply put the vacation mode on your account, it does nothing in terms of the actual shipping time and the handling time. So kudos and cheers for that. The other question I have, I don't know if this is an issue with you guys, but I can't seem to find a way to send an invoice on the eBay app. Somebody bought 3 items from me and wanted combined shipping, which I offer, and I was unable to send them an updated invoice with the combined shipping until I actually got to a computer and logged into the website on the actual computer. So I know this was a lot. I hope Ryan feels better. I've been listening to you guys since 2013, since you had the show with Mikey and Wendy, I believe. Wonder how they're doing. I hope you guys are doing great. It sounds like your trip to New York City was awesome. Thanks for handling all these questions, and I hope to hear from you soon.
Yes. So on the old shipping page, which I still use, you can change the zip code you ship from when you're shipping through USPS. For example, somebody's like, I live in this zip code, but I ship from where I work. That's a good example, but that post office wants the credit for the package. So yeah, the new labeler system doesn't seem to allow you to do that. So obviously people need to leave feedback to eBay about that option, because a lot of people use it, or people who travel and, ship out of their RV or whatever. It's like, yeah, they need to be like, I'm in, Colorado this week, but my home PO box is in California, where I want returns to go. So yeah, there should be an option for that. So hopefully they'll implement that in the new labeling system. I don't use the new labeling system because I'm very comfortable with the old one, so I don't even look at that yet.
Yeah, it seems like it's one of those, thing we talk about, like it's with PayPal, where they kind of tweak things and take away fairly important things that we depend on, but they don't really announce it because it's not big enough to announce. And, where do you tell eBay, I need that information?
Right.
Hello, fellow scavengers. I am Elizabeth, and I am kind of new to reselling. I started about 5 months ago, so I am continually running into new situations. And I wanted to just kind of discuss as briefly as I can this situation that I just ran into and find out what your thoughts are and if you've ever experienced this. I had a buyer that purchased the item and they wanted to send me a shipping label, and with that they wanted me to send them an invoice without the shipping on it. And I thought that was perfectly fine. Of course, I've never done this before, but I've seen the invoices, so I knew that it was possible. So once we agreed upon that, I actually went into my orders and I attempted to change the invoice, but when I went to the invoice page, although there weren't grayed out areas, there were areas that were white where you should have been able to edit it, the page would just not let me edit any fields. So, I turned my computer off. I cleared the cache on my computer, and then still nothing. So I called eBay, and they weren't able to figure out the situation either. They couldn't figure out why I couldn't do it, but they could do it on their end. So they actually edited the invoice for me, and they sent it to the customer. However, they never really resolved the issue, and what they told me was, if you run into this again, just make sure that you call us and we'll help you through it. But they didn't really have this was a workaround, but they didn't have a solution for this. So then the next piece of the puzzle was, I let the customer know. When I first started getting the glitch, I told the customer, hey, I can't, eBay won't let me do it. And what you can do is just pay the whole thing and I'll refund you the shipping. And I think that PO'd them off because they immediately sent me an email and they said, hey, I'm an eBay seller as well, and I know that you could do it. And then they sent another email and said, you know what, just forget it, I'll just cancel. So I sent them an email, nice one. I wasn't begging or anything. I just told them, let me resolve the issue because it was an issue that just needed to be fixed anyway. So after I talked to eBay, they sent the invoice. The buyer was happy. They paid immediately, but they waited until the next morning to send me the shipping label, which was fine. Originally, they told me they were going to send me UPS overnight label, and they sent me a FedEx ground label instead. So I used the ground label, and then I put it into a FedEx box in my area because they don't really have like a distribution center or an authorized place to drop it off in my area. So I put it in a box and I left it. So on to the next day, no tracking yet. So the buyer contacts me, hey, there's no tracking. Did you mail it? And I let them know, yes, I did mail the package yesterday. So that kind of got me worried and I called FedEx. So after a few calls and finally getting to talk to the supervisor, what I was told is the box that I put it in was an express FedEx box and not one that has ground shipping. So apparently FedEx has their carriers are like, I guess, exclusive to express packages or ground packages. And so they said when that happens, the driver, I guess he'll drop the ground package. I don't even know where they would drop it off at. I would just be speculating at this moment. But they said basically it'll go in a pile, and when they get to it, they get to as many ground packages as they can, but there's no rush because it's not express. So I was like, okay, well, there's nothing that I could do about that. So then it got me thinking, even though I had the tracking number, I uploaded the tracking number into eBay. I didn't want to get dinged because that package has not started tracking. So I called eBay and I asked them about it. And the short story is they said the buyer requested that your normal procedures be changed, basically. So they would be in my favor if, the buyer complained that it took too long, basically. So I was okay with that. The tracking was in there. And guess what? After I talked to a supervisor, even while I was on the phone with eBay, that package started tracking. So it took about a day and a half for it to start tracking. So at this point, I was late, but eBay said that they would side with me. So that's kind of the full story. I tried to make it short. And I wanted to know, have you ever ran into a situation like that before? And do you accept labels from your customers instead of you charging them shipping? I thought it would be perfectly fine. I got a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth about this one, so I don't know if this would be something that I would do in the future, but I think it's great to be able to do that for the buyers. And then I had one more short question that I wanted to ask. I wanted to know, I know it is Jay can depend on Ryan and Ryan can depend on Jay, but if you were all by yourself, at what point, based on your experience, would you have hired someone? I know that you all have a helper now or an employee that comes and helps you with things, but like at what point in your eBay life did you decide, okay, that's it, I gotta have a helper? Was it like just a certain workload that you had? Was it a certain amount of items? You said, I got to 1,000 items and I'm going to hire me an employee now. So I just thought that would be an interesting question to throw out there. So that is it for now. Again, I'm kind of new to the Scavenger life community and I'm loving it as well. And I love all the podcasts and all the information in the forum as well. So thanks a lot. Have a great day.
Now, number one, I have a question because I don't really understand
Sure.
how this works. Would you do what she did and change the sale for the buyer the way she's talking about?
Yeah. So if the buyer is like, I have a FedEx account, because prop companies will do this all the time.
Right.
I'm going to give you the label, print it out, hand it to FedEx, and, take the shipping price off of the invoice. Yeah, I've done that before.
Okay. But this buyer was kind of, I don't know, are they kind of sneaky? Because they're like, I'll send you a FedEx label. And then it turns out it's just like a FedEx.
Like ground. Well, she said he was going to send UPS like overnight.
Right.
And then it was just FedEx ground. But it shouldn't matter to her. Okay. I mean, she's like, yeah, I'll send it.
But then from what I understand, the problem is she put the FedEx box in the wrong
FedEx box.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think, here's the thing that I understand. UPS boxes, I think they're the same for both of them. Like it doesn't matter if it's ground or express. But for FedEx, it's two different boxes.
So those boxes that everyone sees,
they're different colors.
Those are like the I got to get it there tomorrow kind of boxes.
No, it might be a ground box.
Oh, okay.
The FedEx ground is purple and orange. FedEx Express overnight is like green and purple.
Okay. So they can't be mixed.
No, like if you put an express package in ground, you're screwed. That's not going express. If you put ground in express, they're like, well, this is going to take longer. Like, we'll get to it. We'll put it in the right place later. So she put it in the wrong box. Okay. So tracking, got late. But it's good that she called eBay to be like, look, they sent me this label. I didn't know where to put it, blah, blah, blah. That's not what I usually do. And that's cool that eBay sided with her. I actually thought that eBay would be like, tough luck. Like, there's no tracking,
Right. But there is a number. It just hasn't been
scanned in.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like it's just sitting at FedEx, and they're like, we'll get to it.
I guess as long as a buyer is understanding, then it doesn't really matter, right? I mean, other than getting a ding on your ship.
If the buyer's like, oh, okay, you know, whatever.
And as long as you normally ship on time.
Yeah, that ding shouldn't affect you. But I hear you. You're like, but I did ship it on time, you know?
Yeah.
But it's good that she called. I mean, I have done that for people, but honestly, in our area, there's a FedEx Express box downtown. But if your box is bigger than that, you're like...
Because it's just like a little tiny spot
it's like,
for like a package.
For like an envelope or whatever. Yeah, so you're kind of like... I mean, there have been times where people are like, can you overnight this? And I'm like, look, I live in a rural area. There are not good options. Like, I have to drive an hour away. Like, I just can't. Unless it's if it's like a $500 sale, I'm like, okay, I will.
Then we'll find a reason.
I'll find a way. I'll just like go. But. It's
interesting to me, hearing someone kind of new to eBay.
Yeah.
I can't believe she's super smart and like is figuring this stuff out.
Yeah. This is like complicated.
I mean, in some ways selling online is easy. It's like you take your app, you take a picture of it, and you list it, and it's done. But then there's so many details after that.
Fixing your invoice, printing out this label some random person gave you, hoping that label works. Like,
so it's like you can be the kind of seller that's doing the easiest stuff. I don't know if you can really run a business that way. This is how you learn to run a business, because you learn all these little details.
Exactly. All these weirdnesses. Oh, there's 2 different FedEx boxes. It's like, who knows that? Only people who absolutely have to know it.
But hopefully she'll make some money on the sale, and now she'll
know. I can adjust an invoice.
Yep.
The advice I have about adjusting the invoices, you could also try a different browser. There could have been something weird. Sometimes Firefox is weird about invoices, or Safari or whatever. Try Chrome, try something else. Sometimes that helps me. If I'm like, this invoice is being weird, I'm going to open it in Chrome, and it's okay. So weirdnesses like that happen.
Hello, Jay and Ryan. Love the podcast. I sell on eBay full-time and listen to your podcast about every week. Must say that you, Jay, are correct. Lessons are expensive. I had my storage unit broken into this past Monday, and the thieves stole my eBay inventory. It has been an expensive lesson, not only expensive but stressful. This is my business and my income they are stealing from me. Now I'm spending money on security systems and surveillance cameras that I should have had in the first place to prevent and apprehend these thugs, so I can hopefully get my stuff back. Expensive lesson. So I need to ask a question. I know you two are good at putting on the colorful eBay blindfolds, running across hot coals and jumping through eBay hoops of fire, trying out all the latest and greatest selling tricks. But are you both going to keep playing this free return game? I imagine you, Jay, is probably wearing that blue eBay blindfold, and Ryan is probably wearing the purple eBay blindfold. You're both sort of tripping over in fiery hoops of free returns and falling down on the hot coals of getting financially burnt by eBay buyers' returns. eBay is probably just kind of chuckling in the background saying, keep up the good work, but to me it just doesn't make any sense. Seriously, I want to know if you're going to stay in the free returns game for the long haul. Are you going to keep going and keep doing free returns in January and February 2018 when all the holiday buyers get their credit card bills and realize they spent way too much over the holidays? So just let me know, are you going to stay in the free returns game? Thanks and have fun.
So number one is, really sorry to hear about your storage bill.
That's
basically kind of almost the worst nightmare that could happen to someone that sells on eBay. I guess the worst one would be like your eBay store gets automatically deleted,
right,
and you can't get it back.
It's pretty close.
But but at least then you still have all of your items. Now that we have everything on our own site, so everything's by our home, we now have security cameras. And
when you say site, you mean physical site,
right?
Not website.
Our physical site. So now we have security cameras. But I guess if you were to store it at
can you put cameras over it? Yeah.
I don't know. But anyway, that stinks.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear.
Free returns. Like we said, our returns are so low that it's not a big deal. And we put $1 handling $1 handling charge on every single item.
Yeah.
So that stuff's getting covered.
Yeah. We chose to do that when eBay wanted us to have this really super friendly return policy. We're like, all right, well, we have to subsidize this somehow, so we do $1 every item. And so far, the returns, we probably get 1 or 2 a week, right?
If that.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't get any.
So, it hasn't been.
It hasn't been
yet.
Brutal.
Yeah. And even I have to, you even heard me earlier on this podcast, I'm just like, those ones that just seem really unfair, it's just hard to just put it down because you're like,
that's not my fault.
This is abusive, but you know what? I don't know. You just have to it's just like a numbers game. It is how it is.
Well, hello, Trash Elves and Trash Elves Radio. This is Derek. I'm calling out of Utah, and I got a question for you. My accountant is teaching at a local university a real-life business course, and he called me up the other day and wants me to come in and talk about e-commerce and eBay specifically to his class. This will be not only my first college class, but I will be a guest lecturer of the first college class I'll ever attend. So I really don't know format or how to go about this or anything, but just throwing out a question for you guys and for the rest of the eBay sellers, scavenger nation out there. What are some things that you would think would be interesting or that you'd like to share if you were given this opportunity with, the new up-and-coming generation who's in this business class? What are some ideas or thoughts that you'd like people to know or think about that I could share and hopefully give a good presentation and keep interest, and also let them know there's other options to explore, that they can have a real world business on the internet like we all do. So that's my question. Any thoughts or comments would be greatly appreciated. So thank you. Bye.
So I think that's cool.
I think it's great.
I think that'd be a fun thing. I think just keep it real simple.
Yeah.
Probably do a brief outline of what your process is. People would want to hear where you buy stuff, how you list it, how you price it, when it sells. Keep it super simple. Don't get into too many details until people ask you things.
Yeah.
I would also send the outline to the accountant, the guy who is teaching a class, because he may say, well, can you talk about this and that? I don't know if they want to hear about doing taxes or...
Right. I think what's fascinating too that a lot of people who are like studying regular business like don't understand is the like markup percentage of what we have sometimes where you're like, oh, I bought this for $25, I sold it for $100. People are like, yeah, Walmart can't do that. So I always think that's an interesting aspect of it, where it's like if you compared it to regular retail,
Absolutely.
it's very different.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I would always, though, again, go to the guy who's teaching it. I mean, he asks you to come on. Just ask him a couple things about what specifically he wants to hear, because I don't know what angle he wants you to go after. Is it just like anyone can start a business, or you're just a real world example of a businessman? I don't know, you know.
And I love it because I'm assuming you're a scavenger, so you know sourcing is going to be super interesting because you know regular businesses are like, okay, buy these widgets, mark them up.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, and I think too, I'm just imagining a bunch of college kids, you know, I'm sure they'll have like a whole presentation screen. If you could bring on your computer or bring a thumb drive of photos of stuff that you sold and show them how much it sold for, I think people would love to hear that.
Yeah,
you know, like,
absolutely.
You sold that for
how much?
How much?
Yeah, exactly.
I think that'd be cool.
Hey, Jay and Rain. I wanted to call back in because I forgot to mention that this past week I got a message from eBay notifying me that I can sign up to take calls from buyers through a new beta test program. So now I can accept calls so buyers can ask questions before making a sale. Apparently I could put in my phone number, and I'd like to know if you had received the same message through eBay and if you're set up with it and trying it out, or what you have in thoughts in regards to taking questions before making a sale, because I know how important it is to actually have messages in the message center to reference to. If you would, just give me your thoughts on that and let me know if you're trying it out. Thanks.
So we have not gotten this.
I did not get that email.
So, yeah.
Well, it's really funny because years and years ago, didn't eBay buy Skype?
Yep, eBay bought
for that reason.
Skype, to this whole idea that people would want to be talking to each other about items, and it was a horrific failure. And
well, it's so
eBay
funny. Well, I'm sorry, because like it's bad enough having to answer people's million measurement questions on a T-shirt through text messages, through eBay messages. I don't want people calling me asking me those questions.
I think we would not join that kind of group. You know, I guess maybe there might be a certain kind of person that sells on eBay, like high-end art or something like really specialty plumbing equipment that maybe they'd be willing to take questions. But if you're just selling like old shoes and old clothes, like why do I need to, you know, and plus it just seems like it opens up a big can of worms. So someone calls me and be like, is this shirt really orange? And then on the phone, I'm like, yeah,
it's orange.
It's like this kind of orange. And then they buy it. And then they're like, on the phone, he told me it was like blood orange, and it's not. And then like, who's, you know, eBay going to go buy the thing I said on the phone? Or are they going to go buy what's in the listing? You know, it's,
right, exactly. There's no record. That's the beauty of the messages through eBay. You're like, I never said
someone would need to tell me why. Tell me what the purpose of someone calling me is. Like, give me an example of what buyers are going to ask me that they can't find out on the page itself or through a simple text a message, you know?
Good morning from nice, cool Michigan. I'm listing away, and I just sold something that I can't find. And I only have about 650 listings, and I can't find the darn thing. And I had to cancel the sale. And then it struck me. That's unusual for me. I can always find, but I only have 600 some items. How do people with 8,000 items find their sale item when something sells? I can barely remember that I even added this item for sale, and I got to go looking for it. Well, I organized by eBay numbers. but it's only 600 items compared to your 8,000 items. How do you find your stuff? Okay. Love listening to you. Thank you for being there. Bye-bye. Tony in Michigan here.
So the times that I have, in quotes, lost an item or couldn't find it in time to ship it, these are usually the reasons why I can't find it. Number one, I'm looking right at it and I can't see it. If I'm going through a bin, there's been times where I've picked up the item and I'm looking past it because I'm looking for the item.
Yeah.
And you're like pulling it away from the pile. And you need a second set of eyes to be like, dude, it's right there. It's right there.
Right.
You're holding it.
Well, to be clear, in the 10 years we've sold on eBay, there's only been 5 or 6 sales we had to cancel because we could not find the item. And I think some of them we eventually found.
Right.
Some of them I think we had thrown away and we forgot anyways. But, so it's really rare. So how do we, with 8,000 items, find everything? If you think about our storage, think about it not as like 8,000, like a 8,000 ball of items. Think of it as 8,000 items split up into tiny 100-item bins.
Right.
So we have, for us, all the shoes in one area.
Right.
And even within shoes, we have black shoes.
Right.
White shoes, Yeah.
Women's boots, men's boots,
right.
men's tie-up boots. Those are in a different bin.
Men's slip-on shoes.
Right.
So when something sells, where like I know exactly where that is because it should be there. It's somewhere in this area right here.
Right.
And that's how we find it. Now, smarter people than us actually are super like pro, and they actually put like a SKU,
like inventory numbers,
a specific number that's on their item page, and then in their warehouse storage, they go to the exact number, and there it is. We have talked about doing that.
Right.
We just haven't done it.
Now, there are certain parts of our system, like fabric lots or, different button lots. Those things have numbers, postcards. I have a numbering system within that because I will never find that stuff if I don't have numbers on it.
Right.
So I do have certain like subsets of caches that have numbering systems because they're like these tiny things that need numbering systems.
Yeah, so people who have been smart enough to build a system from the get-go, they have the kind of system where they could hire anybody who could come in and find anything by following that numbering system.
Yeah.
The way we do it now, it would be very difficult to teach someone where to find things just because we know where everything is.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. This is exactly what I was saying earlier about someone starting brand new on eBay. It's really easy to sell things on eBay or Amazon or whatever. What's difficult is when you start building up a big inventory. This is the kind of problem you have to solve. Like,
I do want to say this. The second reason why I have not been able to find things are if you took a picture of it and it has a container, a holder, or a box that was not in the photograph, there are many times where I'm like, it's this little black box, but I don't know it's in a black box, in a plastic bag, in a bin, and you're like, it's not here because I can't see it. And then finally you realize, oh, it's in a container. That's the other time I haven't been able to.
So would you say it's like 1 out of 100 items is a problem, or is it more than that?
It's less than that.
I mean,
right. Yes, I think it's less than that. I mean, 1 out of every 100? No, I don't have that problem.
Oh, so it's 1 out of every like 500 items or something?
Yeah, that you're like...
Right.
I remember when we came home from New York, there were a couple items where I'm like, I just think like with a pair of shoes, I'm like, I actually think these like rubber rain boots got put in women's by accident because they were smaller men's, and you're trying to think of the logic. Well, why isn't it with the men's rubber boots? Well, somebody who put them away was like, these are women's, put them. And then you go over there and you're like, yep, I was right.
Yep.
Like you have to think through the logic of like, okay, they're not in this bin, but they are shoes. So they must be in some shoe bin. You got to look through all of them, you know?
You just got to do it.
So that's just how you get through it.
Thanks, Tony Katz.
Hey, Ryan and Jade. It's Liz from Missouri. Congratulations on your new building downtown. That's awesome. Have a question for Ryan. So I have 5 redwood aluminum chairs, lawn chairs. I want to ship them to Florida. Ryan, what's the best way to pack and ship those and get them to Florida? Thank you so much for everything. Bye.
Thank you for the congratulations. We were very excited about our building. Lawn chairs. So do they fold up? Because if they fold up, you could probably wrap them in some blankets and ship them like FedEx Ground. If not, Greyhound, I would say.
Well, but I mean,
Right?
there's 5 of them, so
Yeah,
I
there's
mean,
5 of
I mean, that'd be quite. So, I mean, I think the easier thing with furniture, unless it's super high priced and you're willing to go through a lot of, kind of work to get something shipped, you just do local pickup. And if someone buys it, make them
figure it out.
You can send them the websites of shipping places.
Like uship.com.
Or plycon.com.
Right.
And these are, companies that ship all the time. It's white gloves a service in many cases.
Meaning they bring it right to your door.
And the seller and the buyer just has to pay for that,
Right.
And if a buyer is like, I'm not going to pay that to have it shipped, well, then
they don't need to buy chairs from you.
They're not sophisticated buyers,
Yeah.
Like they're like someone who wants to buy something on Craigslist for cheap. I mean,
right.
If someone wants like something very like nice furniture shipped across the country, they should know that there's a cost to that,
right?
And they need to do that.
Figure out the research.
Right.
But those are your choices. There's uship, there's Plycon, there is Greyhound if they're willing to go to there. Although I don't know, Greyhound from California. The problem is with Greyhound though is you still have to wrap those things up. Wrap them in a blanket and then wrap them in cardboard.
Right. We would only, we would only go through that if the sale was a really good one.
High sale.
Or we were just like super hungry to sell something.
Yeah, just like, let's get this out of here.
Because it's a whole thing because you have to like wrap it properly, then take it to your local Greyhound and check it in.
Yeah, and all that stuff. But so those are your choices. Okay, that is it for the podcast today. You can check out our blog at scavengerlife.com for the links we discussed and to join the conversation on the forum. You can leave a question or a comment on our voicemail line. That phone number again is 540-407-8486. You can also email us a question, an audio file. Our email is thescavengerlife@gmail.com. We post an episode every Monday morning. On Wednesday, we post a What Sells video showing what sold, how much it sold it for, currently being brought to you by Stephen Schultz. You can subscribe to our Patreon account, and you can support us for as little as $1 a month, which I will remind you is $12 a year. Subscribe to us through iTunes or YouTube for free, and you'll always get the latest episode. You can buy our archive of the last 5 years of podcasts, so you can put every podcast on your device and listen to us offline. That is on our sidebar. We are ending this podcast in 3, 2, 1. Bye.